What's up, folks? Coach Stan here, and I'd like to do a review on cold showers. A few months ago, I came across a book by a gentleman named Aubrey Marcus, and that's his book, Own the Day, Own Your Life, Aubrey Marcus. And he takes you through his daily routine. He's a backstory. He's the CEO and founder of a very successful vitamin and supplement company called On It. Anyway, so I picked up his book, being the student that I am of top performers and high achievers. And he starts out with his daily routine, and part of that routine is to take a cold shower every day. Cold water therapy is not new, but it has especially taken off in recent years due to the popularity of a Dutch gentleman named Wim Hof. His Instagram is Iceman_Hof. Check him out. He's a pretty incredible guy and does a lot of incredible things. Anyway, so I picked up Aubrey Marcus's book and started my New Year's resolution last November. Every single day is the first day of the rest of the year. So you could start a New Year's resolution any day you want, if you think about it. November 1st, that was my start date, and I started taking the cold showers. There are about 8 professed reported benefits to cold showers or cold water therapy. Some people like to do a cold plunge into a bathtub. Some people like to jump in the ocean. Some people take cold showers. There's a bunch of different ways that people go about it when they want to do it. My means was to take a cold shower. And there are about 8 reported benefits to doing this. I'm going to kind of report on the 3 that were most prominent to me and resonated, and I felt and I could feel comfortable telling someone, yeah, that was my experience with cold water therapy. And then toward the end of the video, I'll give you kind of like my protocol and how I go about doing them in case you ever want to try it. I admit this episode is for crazy people. You got to be a little crazy to want to go dunking your whole body in frigid ice cold water, especially in the middle of winter. I got to tell you, it feels amazing. All right, so the 3 benefits that I got out of it, which I could say were prominent and real. Number 1, it's promoted that it's anti-inflammatory. If I take them before a workout, I've come to know my body over the years, and I know when I'm dealing with more inflammation than I should have, or when I'm feeling good. And I'm pretty good at recovering between workouts, being someone that works out 6 days a week. And I can honestly say that taking the cold shower prior to a workout makes me feel good. I move well. I'm moving well. I spend a lot of time on recovery and preparing for my next workout, and this has been a nice little additional bump to that protocol. I do typically feel refreshed before a workout due to certain things that I do. This definitely gave that an uptick, noticeable uptick. So anti-inflammatory, I'll check that box as far as my experience goes. Another one is stress response. Your response to typical stressors throughout the day that might upset you, might elicit a cortisol response, may get you upset. Think about negative emotions, anger, frustration, rage. And what I notice is that by putting this stressor on myself intentionally, later on in the day, if something were to come up that would normally upset me or make me mad, I just don't have the same anger response or whatever the negative emotion might be. I just don't have it. There's something sort of magical about forcing yourself into a difficult situation, self-inflicted like this, and then later being exposed to some other stressor that just doesn't compare. So you don't feel the negative emotion. So improved stress response, 100%, 100% was my experience. And then the last one that I'll talk about, again, there's about 8, but there's 3 that I want to highlight. I'm a big fan of hacks, of things that you can do with a minimal investment that have a big payoff. In terms of good feelings, energy, adrenaline, I don't know that anything I've ever done has a payoff like taking a cold shower. It is reported that it increases your dopamine and adrenaline for somewhere around 3-ish hours after just a few minutes of cold exposure. For my experience, I would validate that. Just rocking, feeling good, euphoric even, 2-3 hours afterwards. And I think that's what's unique about that, and the reason that that's the case with no crash, by the way. It's very important that it's also rare that something would give you such a high of dopamine and adrenaline and norepinephrine and not have some kind of downer crash afterwards. But that's because in a typical fight or flight response, you've got adrenaline and then you've also got cortisol, which draws on your adrenals and depletes your electrolytes. What's interesting is when you perform the stressor to yourself, you're safe, you feel safe. Therefore, that cortisol response is muted. There isn't one. So you get the dopamine and the adrenaline and norepinephrine, feel great, but the cortisol is muted, and therefore, at the end of the 3 hours or so that dopamine lasts, you don't get the crash. So I would say, the 3 big benefits that I experienced: anti-inflammatory. Yes, it was anti-inflammatory for me. Stress response, incredible. Things that bothered me, just really whatever, didn't bother me much at all. And the energizing effect of a 3-4 minute cold shower is something that I've never experienced with anything else. Pretty incredible. How do I do it? Simple. I get into a shower. I take about 3 minutes of warm water. I take my regular shower, warm water, and then I crank it on cold. And I leave it there for anywhere from 3, 5, maybe a little bit longer. I have done up to 12 minutes. That's my PR. But I don't recommend that. I recommend 3-4 minutes, and that's it. So wanted to give my review on cold showers. I've been at it for about 3 months. It will be a staple, I think, probably for the rest of my life. I've become a big believer in it. If you do try it or you have any questions on it, please reach out. I'm very interested in what you think. And thank you very much for listening. I'll see you next time.